Hello, welcome to the Leverton on Everything podcast, where I literally review everything. That's the first rule. Second rule is that every review is under 10 minutes, starting from the moment where I talk about the thing, where I start talking about the thing, which is now. Today I'm going to talk about a true crime sort of Netflix documentary called Con Mom. Clever title. And basically, it revolves around a pretty famous in his industry chef who grows up without a mom, and life is going really well for him. And then suddenly, a random person appears and says that she is his mom. And he asks her, because he was adopted, so he asks her some questions that she, only his real mom, would know, and for some reason, she tells him those, like, it was basically like, what was my real name? And so he is relatively famous, but his real, like, the name that he was on his birth certificate is not the name that is known by the public, and this person knew. So they start to develop a relationship, and very quickly it becomes a bit abusive because she buys him and his girlfriend a car and says like it's like a gift and that she has all of this money, and they meet in like this really expensive hotel. And the series does a very good job of like building the backstory of this character. So you find out that she has been doing this to multiple other people. Maybe not saying that she is like their mom, but like saying, oh, I'm like this big time investor and I'm going to invest in your project. But, you know, I need some money now because I'm having a hard time transferring the money because of COVID. And, you know, it happened during COVID, so that was her excuse. So there were about at least 4 or 5 different people who had this kind of situation, and the chef's friends could really tell what is going on. So what was going on was basically like this person was completely exploiting him because he really had a desire. And also, very important, she said that she was dying of cancer, so she needed some help financially. And but she never took, like, so she took a bunch of medicines, and then there were like she pretended to be coughing up blood, and then somebody found some food dye in her purse, and the medicines that she said were connected to cancer drugs were not actually cancer drugs. And so basically she was lying, she was conning this guy, and she was conning multiple people around in her life. And I'm gonna kind of give you a bit of a plot twist, although you can, it's real life, so you can find out what happened to this guy pretty easily. So so his friends say, "Oh, she's conning you. There's no way that she can be your mom. You know, you need to stop this." So eventually he's like, "Yeah, right. You're right. This is ridiculous that she's asking for so much money and she's like manipulating me and my family and stuff." So they do a DNA. Like, I don't know how he gets the DNA of this woman. They do a DNA test, and it turns out that she is, in fact, his mom. She wasn't lying about that. She was lying about everything else, but she wasn't lying about the fact that this person is her child, which is crazy. And so at this point in the documentary, they go back and actually explore her life. And basically, she came to London around the time he was born. Like before, he was born, obviously, met this guy, had the child, and then went to prison and basically for the same thing, for scamming people. And it is a good documentary because it shows you how, people want love and affection and the lengths that they'll go. They'll believe people who clearly don't have their best interests in heart. And also how people can exploit other people that they know, you know. And like that woman is sick because not having a relationship with your child just to track him down and then exploit him later when you find out he's a bit famous, it's gross. Would I recommend Con Mom? Yeah, I think it was a good. Uh, yeah, it's good to get away from true crime that's about murder. So if you're into true crime, it's an interesting story and it's well laid out and well told story. All right, I would like to recommend my son's podcast. It's called the Everything and More podcast. My son Jake, he's the guy. He's one of the hosts. I'm also one of the hosts, but more importantly, he is. So check it out on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music. It's called the Everything and More, etc. podcast. In the first season, we talk about animated series. Every episode is about an hour, so much more in depth than these episodes are. So thank you and bye.